Very militant, matches the drums. Ooh, that was nice.
Bona, 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 love ya. Yeah, yeah. Bona, 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 love ya.
Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And today we are going to be reviewing and analyzing Bona Bona dance practice video by Treasure. So this is my very first reaction to the group as a whole. I know they're a fourth generation boy group from YG Entertainment. I am a very big fan of YG's Gen 2 artists, including Big Bang and 2NE1 specifically. And so I am very intrigued of how a fourth generation group from this agency will look. It'll be pretty cool. I do know a couple of the choreographers who have used or put in some of their work into this. That's how I heard of this song, from a lot of people that I follow on Instagram. I think Taryn Chang and I think a couple other people. So this will be really cool to see their work incepted in this way. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Love the reverb at the beginning. He has some really nice popping qualities into what he just did. That was cool. That's a lot of upper body for a singer to do in that moment. Sheesh! I love the peel out of the three different groups. Like a circle, people facing away from each other. Ooh. That was a very typical boy band thing to do, is the holding the face. They kick over. Very militant, matches the drums. Ooh. That was nice. Woo. This choreo makes me like the song so much more. That chorus was really nice to watch. Yeah, core, like that kind of, that draw out was really nice. Huh. His voice does not match his face. That's interesting. That was a Felix moment. Very nice. Ooh, that was a nice little peel between the four people. Ooh, that was nice. I like that it's a little different than what they did earlier. Different formation, different person doing it. Different formation, but they're doing the same peel out. That was a nice way to do that. Okay. That was a nice moment with one of them coming into the line and pulling the other one in. I liked that too. Gosh, I wish it was more of a fixed angle so I could see everything. Fun. This must be exhausting to sing. That was nice. I love that. Oh, that was a very intense moment there at the end. That was chill there. Gets everything together again. I love the curtsy at the end, and then they slow-mo'd it. That was good. That made me enjoy the song a lot more. So I had been listening to the song just and read up on the lyrics just so I kind of know what they're talking about and the vibe of what to look forward to. And I really liked that. That was really good. That was good. I liked it, especially the chorus the first time. I loved that. Let's get into it. So I'm going to slow it down to 0.75. We're just going to go from the top and we're just going to walk through the whole thing. So it starts pretty chill, one simple movement, pretty isolated, just a simple hand. That's a nice little touch. I love that they hit everything, ding, 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 ding. So they wanted to hit the twinkles, but they did it in a very simplistic, not isolated way, but they did it with one hand at a time, and you could very easily establish who your focal point was for that moment. Then they melt because you hear that back bass just kind of swim through the back of the music, and so it's nice that they use their bodies to emulate that. With the reverb, I'm always a fan of a good reverb. So if you don't know what a reverb is, there's a difference between a rebound and a reverb in dance. So a rebound is whenever you hit and then you equally react from that hit. So if it go forward and back, that would be more of a rebound. A reverb hits initially and then it slows down. So that's where you get kind of that decrescendo effect and the physical movement. So that was a really nice choice that all of them made as they melted. And then they're doing, it seems they're doing strobing. So strobing is different than ticking, and they do look similar. The only thing that is different about them is they are from point A to point B, the movement in which you choose to go between A and B, but it has to do with, it's a dime stop. It's a sequence of dime stops, whereas ticking is a sequence of hits or a sequence of pops. So with a tick, they're actually popping through the transition, but what they're doing there is they are strobing, so they are dime stopping through the transition. So if you didn't know the difference, that's the difference. That was really nice. It's still chill, subtle. There's not a lot going on with the music. A nice little, if that don't scream 2009, I don't know what does. That just feels, it kills me when I see that. There's just in this dance, there's some moments that are so borderline cringe dance group or no boy band, boy group stuff, and then some of it is super with the times and really nice touches that show their innovation as a group. But I just think it's actually a great combination because the song actually feels that way too. It feels like a mix of a 2000s EDM song, you know, because every time we touch, like Cascada, and then you have na 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 na, so like dee 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 dee, like those twinkles in the back. This song just feels similar to those things. And I know there's another song that came out in the 2010s that has a similar kind of starting point like theirs is. So for me, this has a nostalgic pop tune about it, but on like the club EDM scene, not really on the pop scene, if that makes sense. So I love the pull of how he comes in and they angle down and they actually change their angle. I really wish this was a wide shot so I could really see the visuals and the formations, because I feel like I'm not able to appreciate it enough because it's so tasteful. It's really nice. One group, other side, something simple with the hands. Wah! I love that he did wah! Then we have with a little pull there. That was cool. That was when I mentioned how he's trying to hold a constant note. I don't know if he's going to actually be able to confidently hold the note the way that it's intended in the song while you're doing this, because even as I'm doing it, you can hear my voice kind of get jerked along. So I thought that was an interesting choreography choice. I like it. It's interesting that the singer himself is doing that in that moment versus the people around him, and he's kind of holding still in posture. So first group, just a super, such a kick step touch, just with arms, just a basic groove. That was super nice. And then they just kind of did a little groove over to the side. I don't know if they added the feet to it, but I like that. This was way more intricate than the first group. So if you notice in the first group, kick, step, touch, super groove, super basic, do. They go da da. You know, I don't know if are they hitting his words? So he's singing the lyrics. So notice that wanna da 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 wow wow da 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 da. You know, they're hitting different layers of their songs, so they're actually demonstrating great fluency and musicality within their own track, which I really like. That looks great. So the same group. 1, 2, 3, and hit. So that was another, it was kind of like a sandwich effect. So you had pretty simplistic when you look at the difficulty of choreography in general. It was pretty beginner intermediate. And then you have a more intermediate advanced musicality demanding section. And then the next phrase went back to that beginner intermediate grooves because you're repeating on both sides. So I really liked that because it allowed me time to digest the information and digest what they're saying as well as what they're doing. So that was nice. Just a nice transition moment. Oh, tap, tap. I liked that. Where normally when you're in a circle, they do a lot of reach outs. You normally don't have an intricate setup like that. Normally they do like slow motion and they pause. There it is. There's like a pulsing, and so it's simple. And I want you to see if you notice it when you watch other groups. When they do a circle like that, a lot of times the point of the circle is to do something simple, but because you have everybody doing it, it looks more complex and it's more visually pleasing, especially when you want to create a flower effect, right? Like a peel out. You don't want to overkill that kind of stuff. So you're not going to see a ton of intricate stuff. So that really I thought it was interesting that they were more intricate there, just in the setup. Do you notice? Yeah, it's just, and then I love the transition of the circle. So that looks similar to what my second group of 3 did when they just did some taps. I don't know if it's the same choreographer or a different choreographer there, because I know they do a lot of puzzle piecing with choreographers with these groups nowadays, which I kind of like because it's a huge collaboration on multiple fronts. So it's always nice to see, and you always make it a little bit different whenever you have that instance. And with this too, they do a lot of peel outs and such. We're gonna have another cringy boy group moment right there. Oh my goodness gracious, that is so, oh man, like all I think of is EXO whenever I see that now, or not really Shiny, but I think of like EXO's Kai when I see this. You know, it's just one of those when you like droop your hand down your face. I know it's supposed to be like a sexy concept, but I don't know, I just find that more cringy nowadays for myself, but also no, I'm like an adult too. Whenever I was a fan way back in the day, I was in my teen years, and I enjoyed watching the boy groups and the girl groups for what they were, and I was a fan, you know, and I appreciated what they did, but I was like, this is my vibe, you know what I'm saying? So that just reminds me of that. So there's that beat, boom, 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 boom. So they're building up with their movements. They're sharper. Boom, 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 boom. A nice click, click, da, 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 drop. Like a kick, it is different than a kick, step, touch. Whenever you kind of throw your leg out, it can look very sharp, but it's very full. So you can take up more counts, but also hit your music as it gets faster without overcomplicating the rest of your body. Military, love the fact that they did because that snare and how they chose the timbre of the snare, the tonal color of the snare. So you know that certain instruments are very distinct in nature, so you can tell one snare from a different snare just based on the environment. You can also listen for the type of brand it is. I'm not very fluent in my percussion instruments, but I am very confident that is a snare drum. Now, whether or not it sounds like a marching snare drum in comparison to a stationary one when you're doing concert with band. But once again, I could be wrong with that, but it does sound very similar to that. So it makes sense when they do marching, military, like a military snare when they march, right? So I really like that. Angle, like that was a nice little way to interpret that. Oh, I love the everybody. I know we have one dancer that's hitting, or one singer, he's hitting up, and he's the focal point because he's the one saying it. But everybody else dropped it, but still did I love their choices over here. So it goes hit and hit and hit. Bona. That right there, boom. So you have this groove going on. I know it's been a habit, and I've seen other videos or other groups do this kind of body roll groove. It's nice, it's tasteful, it takes up a lot of room, but it's also engaging. So I'm always a fan when people not reinvent it, but put it in a different context with a formation or a dynamic. And so that was really nice to add the little head there. I think they added a hit here too. Maybe not. And there, I'm assuming, so they cut it at the time where I couldn't tell if it peels from front to back or from left to right. I'm gonna assume it's a front to back peel. Oh, there is a hit. It is, it's a front to back peel. Yeah, yeah. So, I recently reacted to another choreo that is not released yet. I'm probably gonna release it later this month. They had these punches there, so that's kind of a common sequence I'm noticing in some K-pop choreo within the past couple of years based on what I've been reacting to. It's nice, it builds, it looks good, but I would, if any K-pop choreographers ever watch this, I would also heed caution. Just be mindful whenever you see that. They did a good job of transitioning it in a different way than other ways I've seen it done. Some people keep it stationary, other people switch lines, they transition out. So I would just say whenever you encounter a fingerprint, I don't know if it's the same choreographer or not, when you encounter a similar fingerprint of movement, just be mindful of where you choose to have it happen, what layer of your song you're going to be doing it to, who the group is, as well as the formation, placement, dynamics, the layers, the leveling, that kind of stuff, because I think that does matter. You don't want to over recycle stuff. Even if you didn't choreograph it in other ways, you want to have your own lane, and you want to have your own zone in how you choose to present your choreo to your groups. So that's just my in general note. I love that click, click, click. That was really nice. That is a straight ISO if I ever saw one. They're here, they're marching. It is polyrhythmic too. So if you don't know what a polyrhythm is, it's two or more rhythms that are happening at the same time that are different. So what they're doing is they're marching on the tempo, then they're breaking or isolating various parts of their body at different time. And that is tricky to do if you've never done a polyrhythm before. So just, and then it goes shoot, 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 and then he keeps the gun here and he throws it. I love how I don't know who this person is, but I really loved how he had his moment and then he snapped straight into what the rest of the group is doing. That was super seamless. Love ya. And then they went back and they kind of tailored it back to the beginning posture where it was super simple, where they just had an arm. Now they just went back into something very simple there. That was the end of the first one. That was nice too, because I know earlier they did some strobing. There they also did strobing but they hinged back, which is pretty hard to do if you're not familiar, if you don't use your core. So you can tell they use their core, but also not only from here, you're gonna have your next singer come up and start singing too. That's impressive as well with your body control. That was nice. So this is like your breather moment. You want it to look different than the beginning with the first verse. You want it to have different vibe, and it also drops out a little bit more here too. So he has, he's a rapper, one of our rappers, and they're having his moment because you want to focus more on the music, and he's rapping probably more complex lyrics, so you don't want to overkill your movement for that. Super chill. This is their breather. Now some of these guys, I want us to know, are doing oh look, this is our most replayed section. Just take note that some of them are using their shoulders and then some of them are doing head isos. Let's see if I can find. So he's using his shoulders, so I want you to see that. And I believe this guy right here uses a head iso whenever they switch. So watch. He's gonna do his shoulders. Then this guy, everything right here, head ISO. Yeah, do you see that? So I really like it whenever other people within the group are able to have the freedom of choice in how they choose to interpret that sound when they're given a dynamic scope or a dynamic blueprint. So what they were probably told to do is, hey, we want you to sit and we want you to kind of bounce, but very slowly, where the down bounce is on that snap, right? And so they want to go down and back up. But how you choose to do it, just don't make it too big. And so some of them chose to do the shoulders, which were just as impactful as the head ISO. And so I liked that. There was something that kind of fit for everybody. So that was a really nice thing. Yeah, that was nice. I think I noticed that in the initial reaction. I love it whenever there's a draw out of a particular word and then they interpret that with their movement. it just shows maturity in your movement quality. And I really like it from these three specifically. I really like when he goes, oh yeah, right? Or I don't know if that's the right verbiage, but na 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 na, oh yeah, yeah. So there's like a pull back, and so that was a nice moment there. And they did it again in that moment. Oh, that was nice. So he used his hand, and his hand controlled what the other guys were doing, which were just some head rolls. So that was really nice to see. There was a nice moment. It was chill. That's a breather. It just looks complex because of the other techniques that are being used, but they are more of just drilling and getting used to it versus physically demanding. The ending's more physically demanding, which we will get to. And this is where I said this reminds me of with like Michelin 5-star Michelin Felix for God's Menu. Whenever I watched that the first time, and that was the first time I had ever seen Stray Kids, I believe, as a group. That gave me the same feeling like I saw in this case, this guy right here. His voice is more of a baritone or bass, but his face reads tenor, you know? I think that's kind of the best way to describe it. But also, I'm like, I love the dynamics or the different voice textures in the song because I think it sets up the choreography for more success, which I really like. So, ooh, I love that. That was cool. That was another, that's another cringy, that one wasn't as cringy. I give that like a B- on the cringe scale compared to those A+. Like right here, you know, there was that weird zoom in that happened too. So I think they know it. I know it. They know. I really like the fact that he dropped low and everybody else stayed up. You're able to very easily see who's singing at that point. Yeah. That was good. So it goes da 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 da, right? So they attack using the head and the upper body and using the arm in opposition to make it look more staccato or more aggressive there. That was cool. This is their breather too. Everybody else is moving. Mochima, I'm assuming is what he said, right? And so everyone's dropping low, using a head in order to create that illusion there by keeping their arms up as a fixed point. So if you don't know what a fixed point is, mines do it. It's whenever you have a fixed position and everything is moving around it. So what they did is they had their arms up and then they used the rest of their body to drop down, leaving their arms as a fixed point. So that was cool while he was having his moment. That's the vibe. I don't know if that's the same choreo. It looks familiar. It's not, because they had the three groups, right? 3 groups of 3 people. I remember that. Yeah, so that was different. It was more unison, but notice it was more chill. And then we still have the same guy. I like the lines in opposition. That was nice. Dig. So they're not doing too much here. It's giving them time to breathe, time to really catch their breath in going into the later half of this routine, because it is not easy. And they just did a nice little point there. So this was different than what they did with the first circle. The first circle, I think they had 5 people, 5 or 6 people. And this one they have 5 people, but they have somebody in the center versus in the front. And so it was nice that they did, instead of everybody doing the same thing and pulsing down, because it's the same sound that we're hearing. But instead of pulsing, they're doing a peel, 2, 3, 4, which is another way you can choose to interpret with the circle. So that was nice. Oh, that was nice. So we have 2 of them going up to down, and we have some that are going down to up, and they're still integrating that dime stop motion throughout the piece. So it makes it look more seamless and more connected, which is vital whenever you have multiple people working on one project. So kudos to that. That was really nice of my focal point singer here. He contributed a little bit of information from this side, and then he joined in on this side very seamlessly. That was really nice. That's the same choreo, because I remember from this. Now this is also another one of those posy positions, but he did a good job of peeling away from it. But notice he didn't, I don't think he pulled it away. I think he pulled himself away from it. So he's here, boom. Yeah, so it was a mix of he hit using the tricep back to kind of create that force, like he hit something, and then he let his head peel around to the front. So that was a really nice moment. Well, everybody else is still holding. So they're going low, medium, high as he's still in the center, so it frames him very well. Transition, military once again. But what I like about this course is the fact that they're in a different formation, different singer in the front. They didn't use the head as much here. They still did a peel out, but the peel out is different because it's now a 2-line V versus a 1-line V. So you had your typical V, and then this one, you had a secondary line on the inside, but they still peeled it front to back, but it looked different because the positioning of the other dancers is different. I love that choice. It saves on the brain power, but it still leaves captivation for this course. So I know they kept it the same. They changed formations, and there's a nice little line threading happening, which is always nice and visually pleasing whenever you're looking at this from a live or a performance perspective versus just a music video, which I have not seen the music video, so I don't know how much of this is integrated into that, but I do like this performance video a lot. Yeah. So they did the same thing. I don't know if this is the same guy as earlier. He integrated himself well into this again, but it wasn't as much. It was just more so just information he was doing. It was very like proud in posture in comparison to the other guy. The other guy, I think, was just more like it felt more of like a choice versus I'm controlling everybody, if that makes sense. So that would be the difference between how this guy did it and the previous guy, or it's the same guy and he's just in a different dynamic because he's in a different position in the formation. So no, he's very forceful. Boom, boom, ha, boom, 2, ha. So he joins in, but it doesn't look as collaborative. It's more like he's controlling everybody else, which is nice. It's different. And here we go. Bridge. This is a nice moment where you have this guy here, and then he comes out, and everybody else is just doing very simple new formation. Then as they come into the straight line, we have another person move step up, but it kind of feels like a game, not whack-a-mole, but it feels like a guessing game of who's going to be next, which is really nice, and it keeps you engaged, which is great. Speed it up, speed it up. Nice. And pull. Nice pulls. So he pulled, most of the time people pull side to side. He pulled down and he pulled up. So that was really cool out of my focal person here. There's that reach again. Nice. So the drum is there, but the drum is different, and how they chose to engage in it is also a little different. We can tell this is the most tiring part of the routine, which is going to be just probably going to look really cool. I mean, we've already seen it. I mean, it looks great. 2, 3, 4. Now I want you to realize that this section is probably more fatiguing than the other sections, because when you're jumping, like when you jump rope, it's fine for a little bit, but then eventually you start to get very fatigued, and your lungs are the first thing to go in sense of control, right? You're just trying to get air in, get oxygen in. So this section here, I really feel like they had to practice a lot in keeping this type of dynamic while just jumping and doing all this other stuff you just did is impressive. And they're using their upper body too. That little thing was fun right there. But they're not using their torso there like they were earlier. Like whenever you drop or you do, I think they were doing like an MC walk where, you know, like MCs when they rap, they kind of rock down with a bounce and a march. That's kind of what they were doing, which was nice, very anthem-esque. And here they're doing the same motion there. Just some basic arm positions, but they are adding just a nice leg or a nice foot position with that, just so it looks a little bit refined. It's a clean, that was a clean moment in the area of people going off, you know, which was nice. Hit, hit, and they throw it. Party time. They're just, this is probably a good song based on how they have the formation. It's probably a good song whenever you have an arena style concert. This would be a good one where they have that really big stage and it's square, and they can just kind of go to all the different sections of the floor audience and kind of hit the fan service across all of them at the same time. So that was a nice built-in moment there. And then they jump. It's just jumping. That right there, da 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 da. You have to use your back in order to make that look strong. So they're using their whole torso to make this section happen, which is very impressive, knowing that it's at the tail end of this mess. So that was super chill there. Ties it all together. Nice. So I think it's interesting how they chose to end it, because the thing that they ended up with like is a bow, but the bow is controlled, not what they did before. Before it was thrown and then they went back to control, just like they opened up in the beginning with just that simple hand. So that was really cool. I liked it. This gets an A for me. This was cool. Maybe I'll watch some more of their stuff over as their comebacks happen. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This was super fun, and I hope this was helpful in some way. Maybe if you were curious about a formation choice dynamic or what kind of movement they were doing, I hope I was able to touch on it and provide some sense of clarity behind the choices. This was great, and I look forward to doing more of these. So I'll check you later. Bye.